Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is the place where we explore the strange, the unexplained, and the ideas that sit right at the edge of science and reality. 1. Today's topic is one of the biggest, most mind-bending questions humans have ever asked. Are we really alone in this universe, or are there other versions of Earth existing right alongside our own? 1. For a long time, the idea of parallel universes was treated as pure science fiction. Something you'd see in movies, comic books, or television shows where characters jump between realities and meet alternate versions of themselves. But over the years, scientists, physicists, and cosmologists have started taking the idea much more seriously. Not because it's fun to imagine, but because some real observations about the universe don't make sense without it. What if every choice you've ever made had created a new version of reality? What if somewhere out there, there's an Earth almost identical to ours, but with one tiny difference that changed everything? And what if, in rare moments, those worlds brush up against each other? Let's start with one of the most famous scientific ideas connected to parallel universes, the many-worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Back in 1957, physicist Hugh Everett proposed something that completely broke people's brains. In quantum physics, particles behave strangely. They exist in multiple states at once, doing contradictory things simultaneously until someone observes them. Traditionally, scientists believed that observation caused the particle to choose a single outcome. Everett disagreed. He suggested that particles never choose. Instead, every possible outcome happens. Universe splits. One reality where the particle goes left, another where it goes right, and another where it does something else entirely. We only experience one branch, but the others continue to exist. If that idea is correct, then parallel universes aren't rare, they're constant. Every decision, every random event, every quantum interaction creates another version of reality. That means there could be a version of Earth where dinosaurs never went extinct, one where humans never evolved, and one where your life took a completely different path based on a single moment. For decades, the biggest criticism of the many-worlds interpretation was simple. There was no way to test it. If other universes exist but never interact with ours, then how could we ever know? But in the 1990s, some physicists began asking a dangerous question. What if they do interact? Just slightly. In 1995, a physicist named Rainer Plega suggested that under very specific conditions, particles in our universe might exchange tiny amounts of energy with particles in a parallel universe. Later, physicists Howard Wiseman and Michael Hall expanded this idea into what's called the many interacting worlds model. In this model, universes aren't completely isolated bubbles. They subtly influence one another, nudging particles just enough to produce the strange randomness we see in quantum behavior. In other words, what looks like chaos might actually be interference from other realities. Cosmology offers another unsettling possibility. The theory of eternal inflation suggests the Big Bang wasn't a one-time event. Instead, it's an ongoing process, constantly creating new bubble universes. Our universe would be just one bubble in an enormous cosmic foam. Most of these bubbles would never touch. But occasionally, they might collide. If two universes collided early in their existence, the impact could leave scars. And some scientists believe we might already be seeing them. Astronomers study the cosmic microwave background, the faint radiation left over from the Big Bang. It's basically a baby picture of the universe. When satellites like WMAP and Planck mapped this radiation, they found strange anomalies, circular patterns, unusual temperature differences, and most famously, a massive region known as the cold spot. The cold spot is an area of space that's significantly colder than everything around it. It's far too large to easily explain. One hypothesis is that it could be the result of a collision between our universe and another bubble universe, a kind of cosmic bruise, not proof, but a possibility that refuses to go away. In 2015, physicist Rango Ramchari analyzed data from the Planck telescope and found regions that were thousands of times brighter than expected. These areas didn't line up with any known galaxies or clusters. He cautiously suggested that this could be evidence of energy bleeding into our universe from another one. Imagine two soap bubbles touching. Where they press against each other, something strange happens. If that sounds wild, wait until we leave space and come back down to Earth, because some of the most disturbing evidence for alternate realities comes from history. Take the case of an island that existed on maps for centuries and then vanished. The island of Bermeja, once shown north of the Yucatan Peninsula, appeared on maps as early as the 16th century. Then, sometime in the 20th century, it was just gone. Multiple expeditions searched for it. Nothing was found. No land, no ruins, no underwater remains. Some people believe the island sank, others think it never existed, and some suggest something far stranger, that it slipped into another reality. Then there's the mysterious disappearance of Canadian Pacific Airlines Flight 3505 in 1951. The plane took off from Vancouver heading toward Tokyo, with a stop in Anchorage. Everything was routine, until radio contact was lost. Search operations went on for months. No wreckage was ever found, no bodies, no debris. It was as if the plane vanished into thin air. Cases like this often get attributed to crashes in remote areas, but the complete absence of evidence leaves room for darker speculation. What if the plane didn't crash at all? What if it crossed into something else? History is full of missing things that feel too important to simply vanish. Cleopatra's tomb is one of the most famous. Ancient texts describe her burial in extraordinary detail. She was to be laid to rest alongside Mark Antony in a grand tomb in Alexandria. Yet, despite centuries of searching, no one has found it. Some believe it was destroyed or sunk beneath the sea. Others quietly wonder if something else happened, something that removed it from our reality altogether. Then there's the Bermuda Triangle. Ships and planes disappearing without distress signals. Crews vanishing while vessels are found intact. Compasses malfunctioning. Time distortions reported by survivors. Skeptics point to weather and navigation errors. But even with modern technology, the mystery isn't fully solved. Some theorists believe the area could be a weak point between realities, where space and time behave unpredictably. Human consciousness itself adds another layer to the mystery. Consider near-death experiences. One of the most famous cases is that of Pam Reynolds, who underwent a rare surgical procedure that involved stopping her heart, cooling her body, and rendering her clinically dead. During the operation, her eyes were taped shut and her ears were filled with speakers emitting loud clicks to monitor brain activity, and yet she later described floating above her body, watching the surgery. She accurately described tools, conversations, and events that she should have had no way of knowing. Doctors were stunned. Was this an out-of-body experience? Or was her consciousness briefly operating in a different layer of reality? Similar stories appear again and again. People who recall details from places they shouldn't have seen. People who wake up after accidents with memories that don't belong to their lives. In rare cases, people gain entirely new skills after brain injuries, like composer Derek Amato, who became a musical prodigy after a concussion despite having no prior training. Could consciousness be less tied to a single body and more connected to something larger? Something that spans multiple realities? Then, there are cases of people who seem to step sideways out of reality entirely. The famous story of the man from Tower describes a traveler who arrived in Japan with documents from a country that didn't exist. His passport looked real. His money checked out. His story was consistent. And then he vanished from a guarded hotel room without a trace. Stories like this also appear in older historical records. In the 19th century, a man named Jofar Vorin was found in Germany speaking unknown languages and claiming to be from a land called Laxaria. Maps didn't match his descriptions. No one could identify his homeland. Eventually, he disappeared from history. Time slips are another strange phenomenon tied to parallel realities. On Bold Street in Liverpool, multiple people have reported suddenly finding themselves in different time periods. Older shops, for vintage clothing, cars from the past, and then, just as suddenly, everything snaps back to normal. Dreams add another unsettling layer. Everyone dreams, but some dreams feel more real than reality itself. Entire lives seem to play out. Places you've never visited feel familiar. Some physicists speculate that dreams might be brief glimpses into alternate versions of our lives, moments when the barrier between realities thins. Then there's the Mandela effect, large groups of people remembering the same events incorrectly, books spelled differently, movie lines misquoted in identical ways, historical events remembered wrong by millions. Some say it's faulty memory. Others believe it's evidence of timeline shifts, where people moved between slightly different versions of reality but retained memories from the previous one. At the cutting edge of science, quantum computing has added fuel to the fire. Google's quantum chip reportedly solved the problem in minutes that would take traditional computers longer than the age of the universe. Some physicists have suggested that this kind of processing power could only make sense if computations are occurring across multiple realities simultaneously. Even stranger is quantum entanglement. Particles separated by vast distances instantly affect one another. No signal travels between them. They simply remain connected. Some scientists wonder if this connection could extend beyond our universe, linking particles across different realities. Then there are black holes. Long thought to be cosmic dead ends, newer theories suggest they might be gateways. Some physicists believe black holes could create new universes inside them. 1. If that's true, our entire universe might exist inside a black hole belonging to a parent universe. And if black holes create universes, then our universe might be creating others right now. 1. The idea of quantum immortality pushes this even further. According to this thought experiment, in any life-threatening situation the universe splits. In one timeline you survive, in another you don't. But your consciousness only ever experiences the timelines where you live. From your perspective, you never die. You simply continue, hopping from one surviving branch to the next. It's a comforting idea, and a terrifying one. When you stack all of this together, the scientific theories, the cosmic anomalies, the historical mysteries, the personal experiences, a disturbing picture begins to form. One where reality isn't singular or stable, one where Earth may not be unique, and one where parallel versions of our world could exist just beyond our perception. We may never prove it definitively, or maybe we will. Maybe future technology will allow us to detect other universes, or even communicate with them. Or maybe the truth is already brushing against us, leaving faint marks in physics, history, and human experience. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy exploring the edges of science and reality, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to uncover, and this is only the beginning.